Video games, you probably don't think about school.
Yeah, but a school in New Jersey is bringing games into the classroom and has even made it a sport. NBC 10's Lucy Bustamante is here to explain. Hi, Lucy.
Hey guys, you can imagine parents were a little skeptical at first. It's actually the first middle school in the country to have a video game as a sport, and it has actually created a home for children who really aren't interested in physical sports. It looks like kids just playing video games.
I got it.
But it's evolved into much more.
We scrimmaged Rutgers.
As in Rutgers University.
It's sort of like soccer with cars, except it's a lot more interesting than that. You customize your car and you go against other teams to try to shoot the ball into the goal.
You are watching the first middle school esports team in the country practice at Fairhaven, New Jersey's Knollwood Middle.
We just got our jerseys. You ready? Excited?
Their coach, Chris Aviles.
The kids on my team, they had no home school connection before this team. These kids just went home. When you create a home school connection for a kid, right, it leads to better learning outcomes.
Team captain Tyler Fallon.
It helps me work on my schoolwork a lot more, because if you don't do good in school, you could possibly kicked off the team.
These students are involved in a $400 million industry, according to a market watchdog, that should surpass $1 billion this year.
A lot of people don't think esports is like an actual sport, but it teaches you a lot of the same things.
For example, no violent video games, no rude comments to share with other players, and they have to learn to master new strategies.
The biggest thing I've seen overall is just like any other sport is they've kind of gelled as a team.
And as far as the parents who were really skeptical about their kids playing video games at school,
We had about 30 parents and students come in to watch.
having his mom and his friends all in the same room support him had this 8th grader feeling complete.
I feel like I fit in and it's fun.
Fitting in,
Yeah.
so big.
It gave him a team.
Yes.
And as the coach was telling us, these are children that maybe they did try out and maybe didn't make it for the team, or maybe it's not in their heart and their mind to do physical sports,
Right.
but they're still really good at strategizing as a team. So they had their first big matchup and they tied. So today, those kids take on William Annan School, middle school, another school in New Jersey, for the rematch. And there are tournaments to play. There are cups to win
Good
in all
for
of
them.
this.
What a
So-
great concept.
And some kids physically and maybe emotionally can't participate in team sports.
Correct.
Traditional teams, but they get this.
Right, and there are scholarships on this end as
Yeah.
well, guys. So there are scholarships, especially at Rutgers University.
I
Yeah.
love
for
that kid
teams like
saying,
this.
I got to keep my grades up. So I
That's
just
right.
got to.
Nice.
So that's
Right.
traditional that way. Thank you, Lucy.
Sure.